Welcome to the Deep Dive. We're the place where we take a whole stack of sources, pull out the key insights, the really important stuff, just for you. Today, we're diving into a truly fascinating life. A jazz giant. Someone who spent, get this, nearly 5 decades shaping the sound of one of the greatest orchestras ever.
Yeah, our mission today is really to unpack the story of Harry Carney, the baritone saxophone pioneer. We want to figure out how his unique sound and just sheer dedication left such a huge mark on jazz. You'll find out how one guy, often kind of behind the scenes, can be so absolutely crucial.
It really is fascinating. What strikes me is how Carney didn't just, define what the baritone sax did in jazz. He became this essential pillar for Duke Ellington's whole musical world. So we'll dig into his innovations, definitely his collaborations, and also that really deep personal bond that basically defined his entire career. Okay, let's get into it. Okay, so Harry Howell Carney, born April 1st, 1910, Boston, Massachusetts. And right away, the sources point to a musical childhood. Started piano when he was 7, then clarinet at 14, and alto sax just a year after that.
Yeah, it seems like music was just always there for him.
Definitely.
And what's really interesting, geographically speaking, is he grew up near Johnny Hodges.
Oh, wow. Another future Ellington star.
Exactly. So those Boston roots run deep. And Carney, he was listening to the greats back then. People like Sidney Bechet, Buster Bailey, Don Murray. They were his early influences. But here's something really specific. His goal for the baritone sax. He apparently said he tried to make the upper register sound like Carmen Hawkins and the lower register like Adrian Rollini.
That's incredibly ambitious. He wasn't just learning an instrument, he was crafting a whole new voice for it from the get-go.
Precisely. He had a vision for it.
So then comes a big moment. He's only 17.
Yeah, just a kid, really.
And in 1927, he gets the call to join Duke Ellington's orchestra for some gigs in Boston.
Must have been mind-blowing for a teenager.
Absolutely. He makes his first recording with the band that October, and that was it. He was in, became a core member, and stayed until Ellington died in 1974.
Nearly 50 years.
50 years. It's just staggering. The longest-serving player in that legendary orchestra.
And it wasn't long. Just by 1928, the band got bigger, and the baritone sax became his main instrument. And he didn't just play it. He pretty much became the standard on barisax in jazz for, over a decade, maybe more. He was basically unchallenged.
So he wasn't just filling a chair. He was fundamental from early on.
Foundational. Yeah, he wasn't just playing the expected low notes. This is key.
Okay.
Ellington often used his baritone way up high, playing parts of harmonies that you wouldn't expect from that instrument. It changed the band's whole texture, the overall sound.
Huh. So he's reshaping the sound from the inside.
Totally. It wasn't just adding a low voice. It was rethinking the harmonic structure, which, makes you ask, how does one musician get so integral to a sound like Ellington's?
Well, I guess he really did redefine the instrument itself. Took it from just, background support.
Right, the anchor roll.
To a real melodic force. Using that upper register for color and harmony, that was pretty radical then, wasn't it?
Oh, absolutely. And his technique was also pushing boundaries. He was one of the first, maybe the first major player to really master circular breathing in jazz.
Right, that thing where you can hold a note forever.
Exactly. Imagine hearing that live. These incredibly long, smooth tones just hanging in the air. The sources say it just stunned audiences.
Yeah, I can believe it.
It gave him this amazing control, this sustain.
There's that quote from Hamiet Louet, right, about Carney holding a note where all else went silent. Yeah. That says so much. It's not just technique. It's like sonic command.
It really is. And Ellington knew what he had. He wrote specific features, showpieces, just for Carney, like the famous clarinet solo in Rockin' in Rhythm. That's Carney.
On clarinet, not Barry.
Yeah, he doubled. But it's his sound Ellington wanted there. And much later, 1973, Ellington's third sacred concert is practically built around Carney's baritone sound. So he had this unique ability, didn't he? He could hold down the foundation, but then just step out and soar. That gave him a really special place in the band.
And it wasn't just Ellington, right? He played with other big names, too.
Oh, yeah, definitely. Yeah. He collaborated with Benny Goodman. He was actually at that legendary 1938 Carnegie Hall concert.
Wow, okay.
And he recorded with Ella Fitzgerald on her famous Ellington Songbook album. And with Billy Taylor, too, on Tailor-Made Jazz.
And he was close with Johnny Hodges, you mentioned?
Very close. They collaborated frequently, the musical partnership within the larger band. And his influence, it didn't stop with his generation. It really reached into bebop and beyond. Guys like Hamiet Louet, younger players, they saw Carney as the definitive baritone player of the century. period.
That's high praise.
And think about Charles Mingus. After Carney died, Mingus wrote a tribute track called For Harry Carney. That's respect from a giant to the next generation.
So beyond the music, what was he like? The sources paint a picture of someone. Calm, disciplined.
Yeah, very much so. Loyal.
Yeah.
Kept a really low profile publicly, despite, being this incredible musician.
And the loyalty went deep. I read he often drove Duke Ellington between gigs.
Yeah, that's true. He was Ellington's chauffeur for years, basically. Imagine the miles, the hours, just the two of them in a car.
That's more than just being a bandmate. That's a whole other level of connection.
It really is. It makes you think, what is that kind of deep personal loyalty, that almost family-like bond? What does that mean for the muses, especially over like 50 years?
It must infuse everything.
It has to. It's not just professional respect at that point. It's woven into the art itself.
And then the ultimate, I guess, testament to that bond. After Ellington died in 74, Carney said that famous line, "Without Duke, I have nothing to live for."
Chilling, isn't it? And just 4 months later, he was gone too.
Wow, it really speaks volumes. It wasn't just his job, it was his life, completely intertwined with Ellington's.
Absolutely. A profound connection.
So looking at his legacy now, his work clearly still matters a lot for baritone saxophonists today.
Oh, immensely. His sound, that expressive tone, the control, the harmonic thinking, it totally transformed the instrument. And that circular breathing we mentioned, still something players study and admire.
Essential listening, then.
Absolutely essential. For anyone playing sax, for anyone studying jazz history, his recordings are textbooks in a way. His sound is still analyzed. He's honored in tributes, taught in schools all over.
So wrapping this up, what's the big takeaway for you, for the listener? Harry Carney, he wasn't just some sideman playing the low notes.
Not even close.
He was foundational. His ideas, his consistency, they helped define a whole era of jazz. You can still hear his influence today, generations later.
Yeah, it's like his quiet strength, his deep musicality provided this anchor, this deep voice for so much of Duke Ellington's music, his genius. And Carney's story, it's a great reminder, isn't it, that huge impact doesn't always come from the person front and center. Sometimes the most vital contributions are from those essential figures holding it all together.
Yeah, his ability to just take an instrument, make it so much more, and be that constant, powerful force for decades, it's just truly remarkable.
Which leads to maybe a final thought for you to chew on. In any creative work, really, think about those unsung heroes, the essential people who aren't always in the spotlight. How do they shape the big breakthroughs? And what does that kind of loyalty, like Carney's, really mean when you're chasing a shared vision?
Something to definitely think about. Well, next time, keep exploring, keep listening.
And keep diving deep.